Good evening. Mr. President, you're the president. You have a preference. If you want this seat, it's all yours. If you want to ask the questions, you can do that too. I don't know what to do. I'm interviewing a president, and there's nothing on Twitter from him today. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know what to do. General Dempsey is very interested in this general to president thing, so he'll be listening very closely. I want to ask you to go back in time because of the 25th anniversary in just a second, but I'm going to start because we're about to enter playoff season here in the NBA with the family feud here. Your daughter, we were sitting at the table, she's a big Celtics fan. On the way in, you told me a state secret. Amen. I'm a Boston kid, so that's my preference. 28 years, Bullets, Wizards, season ticket holder. You can all question my sanity. But I love the game. But I'm a Celtics fan by DNA, which your lovely daughter is a Warriors fan. Tell me why.
First of all, I like the name, Warriors. That's
good.
That's one consideration.
Right.
Long ago, I used to be a fan of Celtics with my daughter because of her influence. But later on, I changed. I thought I need to look for my own team that I can identify with in many ways. So that's how I came to be a Warriors fan.
Be fun during the playoffs. Watch us play out. I'll take a Warriors-Celtics final. I'd be good with that. Let's go. I want to talk mostly about today and tomorrow and the opportunities and challenges Adam just teed up there. But let's go back for a minute. You're here at a threshold moment for you. 25 years ago, now you're a 61-year-old president. Then you were a 37-year-old general who helped led the effort to end one of the world's great horrors. Where are we? As you reflect back on the 25 years, you think about the educational challenges, the reconciliation challenges, the infrastructure challenges, the economic challenges. We could talk for months or more about that. But just your thoughts at this moment as you think 25 years.
To begin with, 25 years ago, the country came to its knees. It was total devastation. No private sector functioning, no government services, just blood flowing, across the country. So we started from scratch. I think scratch is even an understatement. So we started by picking pieces together and bring people back together, reconciliation, justice, security, and rebuilding schools, hospitals, and different public services. So to understand the magnitude of the problem, everything one could think of in that situation was a priority. So you can imagine if you have hundreds of priorities, the question is, where do I start from? That is the biggest challenge. Now, 25 years on, we look back, we found things have come together in a way that even we ourselves are very much surprised. We've reconciled the people of our country. We have had justice carried out. You can imagine in a period of 12 years, we created a justice system based on tradition in Rwanda, where we saw through over 1 million people tried in village courts, where communities would sit down and listen to cases and listen to people, the perpetrators, showing remorse and giving information and telling stories of how they were made to kill their neighbors. Sometimes you would even think it's just neighbors killing neighbors. We had a situation where people would kill their family members. For example, a man or a husband in a home kills children who don't look like him, and they look like a mother. Maybe mother was from a different identity. So you have a situation and a society in this kind of situation. It's very, not only troubling, it's extremely difficult to try and think of how to move the country forward. But nonetheless, we look back, we find unity, national unity has been holding. We have seen reconciliation take place, justice has taken place, some perpetrators have been tried. There has been forgiving. A lot of people who had responsibility in the genocide have been let free. And we only targeted the leaders because it had leaders who made the other community members actually get involved in the crime. And these are the ones we concentrated on the others we had to let go. Then we have seen women empowered. Now in the parliament we have 61%, 62, close to 62. Women, the members of parliament, 62% are women. 50% of the cabinet in the government are women. Women entrepreneurs developing. We have seen doing business in Rwanda in the world ranking by the World Bank. Rwanda is the second in Africa in ease of doing business. It is number 29 in the whole world of 190 countries surveyed. And security and safety of people. And so we are registering growth year in, year out of between 7 and 8%. 2018, we saw 7.2% growth. In fact, we anticipate beyond that, it will be about 7.6. Before, in 2017, we had 6.5. So things are coming together, things are holding, but always at the back of our mind is that history has given us a lot of lessons we've learned from. And one of the things we think about is sustainability of what we are doing. We've been building, we've seen a lot of that tragic situation behind us, but you want to be sure that it's not going to visit you again as we move forward. So it's been challenging, but I think progress has been made.
I should have said at the beginning, this is a room full of very shy people. And I'm going to have, in a few minutes, I'm going to go to the floor. And so hopefully if you have a question, please jump up. As we get to that, I want to get to the sports piece of it in a minute. But as you look at this, at sustaining that growth and dealing with the issues, at the top, it was the demographic challenges were mentioned. 60% of your population in Rwanda under the age of 25. 41% of Africans continent-wide under the age of 15. What are the economic development, the education challenges there? So you have this growing, fast-growing young population. How do you keep them active in the right ways, if you will, so that they don't take the wrong path?
Actually, we have 75% below 30, 75%, and then 60% children who were born before genocide. So that is, but we want to see it as an opportunity, and that's why from the beginning we have invested in education. 15% of our national budget goes into education. And we've seen 17 goes into health, and then the rest infrastructure, agriculture, and so on. So with education, we have enrollment rate of 92% of our young children who go to primary and secondary level education all attend school, 92%. We have the highest enrollment rate in sub-Saharan Africa, Rwanda has. So, and we've seen that payoff. So while that is a challenge, we have always seen it as an opportunity. But with opportunity, you have then to invest. You have to make sure that, and we targeted different things. We have focused on technology, how technology can be harnessed in our different sectors, and therefore encouraged that in education. We have infrastructure, we have connectivity, one of the best on the continent of Africa. We have 4G LTE now covering 60% of the country. We have fiber, 4,000 kilometers across the country, and just last mile connectivity is what we are doing to homes and the premises and so on. So all this has been contributing to this growth, and the young people are finding jobs, and not all of them, we have to keep working very hard to make sure that we create these opportunities. It's around entrepreneurship, it's around innovation, it's around the investments we've made in technology, and we are seeing things working out.
The video before dinner showed President Obama. Obviously, he had a personal connection to Africa. He often spoke of this as Africa's moment, Africa's time. Forgive me, but moment is not the word most people would think of when they think of our current president and his public statements about Africa. Does he get it? You've met with him. Sometimes what he says in public and what he tweets in public is not what's happening behind the scenes. At a time when China and other economies are rushing into Africa, seeing the opportunities, does the United States government, in your view, have the right proactive approach to getting involved, whether it's through foreign aid or encouraging more, facilitating private investment?
I will answer it this way. The most important thing is that Africa is getting it. We get it in Africa.
Right.
I think the Africans are beginning to understand that there are certain things they have to do and do for themselves as they seek partnership with the rest of the world. And of course, Africa, in many instances, United States is really a partner of choice. But then United States has to want to be a partner with Africa as well. And that part I will leave it to United States to decide how they go about it. But so Africa gets it in a sense that it's open for business with Europe, with the United States, with China, with all those parts of the world that have what to offer, and Africa has a lot to offer as well. We are seeing increased openness. We have recently, in fact, created a continental free trade area that brings together 50 now countries of Africa out of 55 signing up to that, and a number of them ratifying the free continental trade agreement. So Africa is working together, and we have brought Africa together, united it. There's through regional integration. So this is of an interest to Africa, but it should be of interest to United States and other countries that have, as I said, a lot to offer in area of investments and trade and all kinds of stuff. So I think we will continue to want to work with the United States, no matter who is doing what.
Very diplomatic. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I've
been learning.
I get it. Yeah.
Yes.
Put the basketball into context in the sense that, on one hand, you could say it's a game. But if you have a lot of young people that you're trying to get on the right path, it's great to get them in a team, in a community, in a game setting, without a doubt. You're a president who has to deal with that. You're a parent who knows what it's like to raise children and to try to put them on the right path. And you're a fan. In terms of the connect the dots, if you will, that having an organized sport and having the help of a professional league like this that gets it, to borrow your term, how do you see it both as a cultural and a societal impact across Africa, not just in Rwanda to have the Basketball Africa League, but also connected to the economic development and the social development?
Yes. You know, sports generally is something that cuts across and interests people irrespective of their backgrounds. In fact, you find the young, the old, doesn't matter the race, the tribe, the ethnicity, and so on. We've seen, like in Africa, before I come to basketball particularly, in Africa, the first thing that Africans have been interested in is, well, you call it soccer here, but in Africa, generally it is known as football. And you find from village to cities to wherever, everybody's, you know. And in fact, in our case, in Rwanda, we found that sport, like for example, soccer and other, in fact, was helping, or the sport was helping to unite people. They would forget their differences, at least for a moment. We just have to make sure that it is not for a moment. It actually grows and keeps going with, you know, people's interests. So that and then across Africa, when you look at sport generally, in fact, like in Rwanda, we have developed a world-class cycling team now. That's one of them. Now we have a very strong partnership with NBA through different programs, Giants of Africa, or the Young League of basketballers across Africa. And this has the capacity to pull people together around their interests and what they want to focus on. You are able to develop to different levels in different number of things. Because with the population of the continent, which was mentioned earlier, 1.2 billion people now, and in 30 years, 2.5 billion people. You already have a continent of many young people, but with that, you are seeing also middle class growing. You see the demographics which I mentioned in Rwanda, 3/4 below 30, then 60, below 25. And this consumer society has a lot of interest. In Africa, Africans want to connect with international brands. But at the same time, they also want to develop their own brands. And through basketball or through sport generally, there is, in fact, the development of talent in sport and also business in sport. These two create a virtuous cycle, if you will. Mm-hmm. So, and it spreads across this demographic on the continent. So there is no question about the benefits and around the attraction, this very fact that a very young person wants to connect now. The business around that, whether it is through advertising or through different entertainment forms, I think the potential is huge. Absolutely, there's no question about it. And I'm just grateful that today was a very good opportunity to come and meet the distinguished Board of Governors, and I thank the Commissioner for inviting me and others who have been working together as partners in Africa, Masai, Amadun, and others. So it's and this is the moment for Africa. If you want to invest in Africa, it is now. You don't have to wait, and then you grow with Africa as it grows.
And if any questions from the floor, we got probably about 10, 15 minutes left. Please just raise your hand or stand up. Don't be shy and just shout it out. To that point, what is, I've been at this a while with the NBA, even before Adam was commissioner, part of the international growth of the game. And I think Adam tells the story a lot about like the Yao Ming experience and how, boom, wow. What is the NBA's brand in Africa now, and where do you see as this partnership, how to accelerate that?
We have already started. We had a team led by the commissioner, Adam Silva, visiting different countries of Africa. We came to Rwanda, and we are seeing huge interest. In fact, and the governments have to play their part as well. I think this is not just for the private sector or young people, no, but government should understand, and we do understand the opportunity.
Do your colleagues get that? If you're talking about 12 teams?
A number of them.
12 teams across the continent,
Yes,
is that still one of the little headbutting you have to do there?
I think they are beginning to understand what is in it for them, and where they don't get it straight, I think a reminder comes with the kind of cooperation we have forged with the NBA. And we are seeing development of infrastructure. We are seeing trainings that come with that, with the support of NBA and through other partnerships. We are seeing a lot of training, and it's just growing and growing very fast. And I think it's something that needs to be supported and continue to be supported.